What up, guys? So it is Saturday. It's just before the evening rush. It's almost 5 o'clock, so I'm heading back out in a moment. So I've worked every day of this week, and when I say work, I mean waited for orders. So I just wanted to make a little bit of an update on my feelings and the Deliveroo situation. So, or rather, everybody's situation, because I wanted to mention that about the government policy to help self-employed people, very much like the legislation that they created for the employed people. Ours is a little bit different. I think there's a couple of caveats with the self-employed people. Well, first of all, I think it's going to be 8 weeks before anybody gets any money. Second of all, you have to be self-employed for a year, and I might come back to why that's quite pertinent to this period of time. And lastly, there's two things. It has to be your main source of income, and also the amount of money you get is averaged over 3 years. If you've only been self-employed for 1 year, then it will be an average of the months that you've been. Well, I suppose it's not an average; it's just one figure for the year, isn't it? So there you go. So it will work out an average depending on how many years. I'm guessing up to 3 years. I don't know exactly. I'm not an expert. I should really throw that out there. Anything that I say is my opinion, or how I interpret the information that I have. I'm not a tax expert or a qualified accountant or anything like that. Just to throw that out there. Now, okay, a couple of problems with that, and my thoughts. So this is quite an important period of time for self-employed people because the tax year is ending. So they say that you have to be working as self-employed for at least 1 year, but right at this very moment, if you've been working for a year or more, slightly more, then you would have only done one self-assessment. Now, the problem with that is that if you were previously employed, like one of my colleagues had been, and the majority of your income for the previous tax year was from your employed income, then it won't appear like you are earning most of your income from your self-employed work as opposed to employed, because the tax year ends, I think it's on the 6th of April. So between 2019 and 2020, that tax year, I'm not sure if that's going to be taken into account, because nobody would have filled in their tax return. Nobody's going to go, oh, it's the 6th of April, we can fill in our tax returns, let's do it now. Because nobody's going to have the money. You don't necessarily have to pay as soon as you do your return. I should throw that out there as well. But it's one of those things that people leave to the last minute, so I don't know. Anyway, moving on again to my opinion on this information. So they're going to send people out. They've already sent an email out, and then closer to the time, I think they're going to send you out an email for you to apply. And I thought to myself, this is all a little bit strange. Why would you possibly need to apply if you've done your self assessments? Then they know exactly how much money you've earned, and it should kind of be an application process should be irrelevant. Now, I'm guessing that this application process, and this is a guess, more educated people than me, feel free to comment below. I'm guessing that this is going to take into account the fact that you could well have been working for a year, you just haven't completed 2 self-assessments, or things like personal circumstances. I don't think that they're going to take into account the fact that I normally spend 6 months a year outside the country. So even though I suppose it shouldn't really. I mean, I can't complain. I made my own life decisions, but the amount of tax that I pay is quite small compared to somebody doing this job full-time 12 months a year, because I'm not in the country for the whole 12 months. So I'm probably going to get, if I do, and I should get something, I should probably get a very, very small amount of money. But like I said, it's my own personal decisions. Even if I was going to complain about that. I don't think it would be right for me to do so because, like I say, I haven't contributed as much as everybody else because I've been out of the country, doing other things, teaching English, in Thailand, etc. Doing my own thing. So, should I get the same treatment as somebody that's been here for 12 months doing this job? Probably not. I don't know. Whatever. Now, one good thing about this is we can continue to work and still get it. However, that's kind of irrelevant. This week, I think I'm up to about £28. And I've worked every day. I haven't been motivated enough to go out in the evening. There's a little ray of sunshine, in so much as I was told that actually last night it was busy for a couple of hours, which is why I'm going to work tonight. Previously, it was just completely pointless, much like the lunch times. And I'm not even saying that there's no orders around. The reason that people are being hit so hard is to do with vehicle priority. I've been standing outside a restaurant for 2.5 hours and watched e-bikes and motorbikes come and go, and I've been standing outside thinking, what about me? But yeah, so motorbikes have been affected, I would say, the least. I'm not saying they haven't been affected, but they've definitely been affected the least out of everybody, and then e-bikes, and then cyclists. Well, cars will fit in there somewhere. They're probably the same priority as motorbikes, I don't know. So yeah, apart from the fact that I would say 90% plus of restaurants are closed, there's also the priority that's getting in the way of people earning money. And then, of course, you've got other factors as well to take into consideration, like motivation and your own mental well-being. You kind of, after the fourth day, you're kind of out there standing out or close to a restaurant. Should say, I'm not standing in a large group outside the restaurants because we shouldn't be doing that. Not just for delivery, for ourselves as well, because it makes sense for us not to be setting a bad image of a big group of delivery riders outside a restaurant entrance. One, stopping people from going in there, and two, it's just going to attract the wrong type of attention from police and the public, and just how we're perceived by the public. What are your thoughts on that too? My thoughts I will make very clear at a later date. I can see that becoming more relevant quite soon. Yeah, anyway, what else am I going to say? Yeah, so I was in a position where just deciding whether or not to work, really. I know by going outside, I'm putting myself and the people that I live with at risk. But, I mean, I am quite cautious about keeping my distance from everyone. I'm doing the contact-free deliveries. I've got hand sanitizer. I've got disposable gloves. I've got everything that I could possibly need to keep myself safe. But, I mean, there's the possibility of it all going wrong. Yeah. And then there's a question of, is there any point of working? Even if I feel like I can work safely, is there any point? That's the next question. I don't really know. Yeah, so I'm definitely staying positive, although this whole thing is very real and starting to get a little bit boring. I know thousands of people are dying, and I'm not saying boring as in a disrespectful way. I'm just saying, yeah, I think everyone's patience is wearing a little bit thin, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to the people in danger like the NHS and the emergency services. I'm not being disrespectful for them, but yeah, the economy, the world still needs to turn, and I don't know how long people like me could financially survive going in this direction. And I can definitely understand why even people that might have symptoms, and I do not have symptoms, might continue to work just because they have to, you know? If you... so I've got a colleague who started in, I think it was October 2018. So they have been working for Deliveroo for well over a year. But the first year, most of their income came from being employed. and they've done one self assessment, which had mostly the employed income. So where does that leave them? They're a full-time worker. They work every day. They haven't completed a tax return for 2019, 2020 because the tax year isn't over. So what about them? What about these people? And Deliveroo, specifically, this type of gig economy has a massive amount of staff turnover. So there's a very good chance that the majority of them are going to be new or relatively new. I wouldn't like to think how high the percentage of people would be new, because normally people get sick of the magnitude of issues that we have to deal with and do something else. So, I mean, it would be scary to think about all of the people who are new. I mean, there's the other things that you need to take into account as well, although, to be fair, I mean, there's not really much you can do. The people who haven't registered as being self-employed, well, unfortunately, it's one of those things where you've made your own bed in that respect. It doesn't fix the problem, but I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe these people do deserve sympathy. I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Yeah, people who have bought accounts, they're screwed. I don't know. It's a bit of a shit show, but there's no winners, are there? There's no winners. You gotta admit to that. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this. I really don't. I don't think that some of the restaurants are going to open again when this all blows over, but hopefully I'm wrong. Anyway, what are your thoughts? I'm off out to do, hopefully, some orders. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I've got my disposable gloves. I've got my new in a bag. I took the opportunity to order that, and that arrived yesterday. Whoop, whoop. Looks nice and shiny. Should keep people happy with my disposable gloves and my hand sanitizer. Yeah. I'll try and stay motivated. Monday will be depressing, though. I can almost guarantee it. Anyway, I will let you guys know how this evening goes at some point. Yeah, to everyone working in the NHS, to anyone doing a key worker role, whether you be a cleaner in a hospital, or a porter, or a gas man, or anything, keep up the good work. Yep. Work together, or what is it, that line from Lost? Live together or die alone? I wonder if we can change that to work together, or I don't know. I've really got to stop with these quotes from films and songs, because I always misquote them. With the one with the Macklemore song, I got that completely wrong. Anyway, I'm going out to work. See you later.